Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
First of all, I would like to welcome everyone who is here visiting us today. It's great to have you guys here. So let's see what we can do with this gospel, shall we? So this gospel is frequently known. I'm sure many of you have heard it and heard it preached. This is kind of the I shall make you fishers of men gospel, right? And that's where we always go with it. You and I are called to go out and be fishers of people. The image there is me running around, grabbing people in the face and being like, hey! And nobody wants that. Don't do that. Don't be fishers for people. It's violent. It's horrible. I actually am anti-fishing. I know, how horrible is that? Okay, so here, because I rarely get to say why I think fishing is so horrible, this is going to be my opportunity to tell you why I can't stand fishing. And I'm going to anger so many fishermen here. And I know it because this church is full of people who love to fish. Okay, so here's how fishing works. You take a thing and you stab this sad little worm through it. Now, I'm a gardener. I like worms, so impaling them on the hooks is not something I'm really into. But you impale it on a hook, you throw it into the water. By the way, worms don't swim. So you've impaled it, and now you've thrown it into the water, and it's like, rah! Well, and that entices a fish. And the fish comes along, and it's like, hey, there's a worm in here. Why? That's cool. Fish are not smart. And they eat the worm, and then they, too, become impaled by the hook in their face. Like, oh, that's horrible. And then you pull them out of the water, and they live in water, you see. So when you pull them out, they're like, ooh. And then we're like, oh, it's kind of small. No, that was fun. So you take the hook and you rip it out of its face, and then you feel really good about yourself if you throw it back in. Ew. I want no part of any of this. I think it's cruel and heinous. But God bless you, because I do enjoy a fine fish. So for those of you who fish, I appreciate what you do, and give me some trout or salmon, because I think it's delicious. Anyway, so that's my fish. So I don't think we should be fishers for people. I think that sounds horrible. Don't go fish for people. That would get you arrested. Okay. So what is this gospel really about, now that you've gotten the why Meg doesn't fish story? What do we do with this? Because I think the power of this story is not that Jesus says, I'm going to make you go fish for people. The power of this gospel is that Jesus speaks to them in a language that they speak. Because I'm not a fisher, clearly. Now, if God comes to me, God's probably going to speak in the language of coffee beans. Because that is a language that I speak. And God is going to say, you know what, Meg? Go out and be a roaster for people. And I will say, I get that. Yes, I shall go out and be a roaster for people. So the power is not in you being fishermen for people. The power in this gospel is that you and I are called in the language that you and I speak. And this is really, really important, because sometimes we as Christians get so caught up in we have to go and speak the language of the Bible. Now, I speak Koine. Don't waste your time. I will do it for you. Actually, don't waste my time either. Get yourself a good Bible and read the footnotes at the bottom. People who have way more degrees than you or I have done this for us. That's not the point. You and I are not called to speak God's language. Because, by the way, that's not God's language anyway. God's language is love anyway, so you don't have to worry about Koine or Hebrew or anything else. But God comes to us where we are, who we are, and how we are. And God speaks to us in that place. That is the power of this gospel. So wherever you are, God comes to you and calls you from there. And that's important. You and I are not called to go out and figure out this stuff. We're called to gather together to be empowered to go out and do the work, but your ministry is where you are. Wherever you are. Be that in your family, in your relationship there. Be that in your workplace. Be that in the grocery store. Okay, if you have one call, anyone shop at Aldi's? Yeah, you should. It's amazing. I love Aldi's. Okay, here's my commandment to you. She says it with the voice of the divine. No, she doesn't. Leave the quarter in the cart. Go out and make a difference in this world. Because you are called where you are, who you are, and how you are. Today, when your kids screw up and you really want to be like, oh my God, are you serious? That's not you. That's just me. Okay. Well, that's just me. So y'all doing parenting a lot better than me. When you get the urge to say that, swallow it. Take a deep breath and hug them instead. When you are in your workplace and you come across that person who hit reply all to an email that could have been replied to one person, that's not you, by the way, but they hit reply all, and you really want to hit reply all back, like, you don't have to hit reply all. Just me? Like, literally, this sermon is for me this week, isn't it? Because, like, it doesn't apply to none of you. All you are great in the workplace, and you are winning this parenting, so God bless. You could have slept in today. Okay, when you come across that person this week, swallow it. Take a deep breath. Be like, okay. They hit reply all. Some people hit reply all, and that's okay. Just delete. You don't have to read the whole email. Just delete it. It's fine. The power of this gospel is that God comes to us where we are, how we are, and who we are. In our language, God calls us. Because that's what this gospel is all about. This gospel is all about Jesus accepting his ministry and beginning it. Right? That's what this is about. This is about God going out into the mass where God is and gathering people and saying, you know what? You are called. You are called. You are called. You are called. And so today, hear that. We are called. We are called. And you want to know what? I love having you all here. I really do. We're not called to come here. We're called to go from here. Not to other churches. No. We are called and prepared here. God comes to us where we are, how we are, and who we are. We are called in our place. We are called in our language. Whatever that is for you, hear it. You aren't called to figure this all out on your own. You're not called to go out and figure out God's language on your own. You're not called to save. You're called in your place, wherever that is. And you're called to make a difference. So, I ask you, what are you going to do this week? What are you going to do? In your place. Because my place is in my home with my kids. My place is in a middle school. My place is in a neighborhood that frankly drives me crazy because right now they're afraid of coyotes.
Now, many of you know I'm a farm kid. I ain't worried about no coyotes. Don't let your cat outside. Okay, and I need to be reminded all week not to post anything on Facebook being like, y'all, this is not how coyotes work. They ain't hunting down your kids. They got better things to do. Okay, so those are my places. God doesn't call me to go to Palestine. I would love to. I would love to go see ancient Egypt, and I would love to see those things, but that is not where God calls me. God calls me here in Lee Summit. God calls me in my home with my kids and my family. God calls me in Harrisonville in a middle school that's sometimes really hard to be in. God calls me in Hy-Vee when I go to the grocery store. Those are the places God calls me. Where does God call you? And someday God's going to call me to be a pastor.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.